Catherine, I don't skip around in reading comp either. See, here's the thing, Catherine, you're doing a harder test than I am. Do you really think that you could do a harder test than me and still compete with me? That's not a good plan. You're necessarily doing more work than I am in the same amount of time because you're skipping around. You're rereading. You're reading things multiple times. You're outsmarting yourself. Meanwhile, I'm just answering number one and getting it right. You're deciding what question to do. I'm working on a question. So the more of these gimmicky time management strategies or skipping around strategies you employ, the better it is for me if I'm your competitor, because I'm just going to be getting one more question right all the time. That's it. All I'm doing is answering the questions correctly. And all this Kaplan garbage is not helping you. And that's what Michael, yeah. If it were true that they had easy and hard ones scattered through the whole section, or if it were true that the questions had different point values, or if it were true that there was a penalty for guessing, but none of those things are actually true. They put the easier questions first, and they're all worth the same. So if you're going to guess on the ones at the end. And then save all the time that you're currently using. You're burning brain cells, man. You're using time and energy to meta LSAT. Like, think about what part of the LSAT you actually want to do instead of just doing the damn test. Just do your work. By the way, if you're going to score 175, you're going to do every question anyway. So what's the point? Okay, Catherine, games is a different, now, figuring out which rule to do for, oh, you mean, or the if questions on the logic games? Okay. But I'm not picking which game to do, okay? In the logic games, Ben taught me that if you do the if questions first, it'll help you to have some scenarios that might help you on the global questions. That's the only exception to any of this skipping around stuff. And reading comp, you don't get like one more question right because of the other questions. It's not like that. On the games, it can be. On the games, if there's an if question, you get to write a little scenario, and another if question, you get to write another little scenario. And especially if you didn't make worlds in the first place, that can be really helpful. So we do teach that. But the truth is, if I had made worlds and killed it, I don't think I would even do the questions out of order within the same logic game. I wouldn't do that. I would just do them from start to bottom. Yeah, I disagree with all of everything you guys are saying about skipping questions within reading comp passages. Absolutely not. You need to predict the answer on those global questions in reading comp, just like you need to try to predict the answer on the more detailed questions. Doing the games in reverse order is asinine. I've had people tell me that they think they do better if they do the logical reasoning section better from back to front. Like people, I'm fresher at the beginning of the section, so it's better that I do the hard ones at the beginning. And I'm like, really? So you're going to get your ass kicked potentially by the hardest questions in the section. Why? So that you can run out of time on the easiest questions in the section? Good luck, but that is not anything that I would ever teach. Yeah, and I agree with Tara, actually. What is a global question? I don't fucking know. What? It's on reading comp, there's a passage and then there's a bunch of questions. I never talk about question types on reading comp. There's a passage and then they ask you 6 or 7 or 8 times, did you understand what you read? That's what the question's asking. Did you understand it? And yeah, the first question typically, I guess people call it a global question because it's asking you about the big picture, like what was the main point or whatever. I don't even notice that shit. That's not what I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is, did I understand the passage? Can I tell them what the point was? And then I just go find the answer.